Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic. Get your questions fired up for this great discussion this morning. Also, we do Decklist reviews. So if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, or you'd like to show off, you got a spicy brew over there you'd like to share with the community, share it with us and we can give you some feedback. So brew up your cups of coffee and let's brew up some Magic. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for April 14th, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Not a Merfolk podcast, though. It's a Magic podcast. Oh, Galactic Center Core. Thank you very much for joining on YouTube. I don't know how long you've been joining on YouTube. I can just see that you are a member. You're a member on YouTube. We're getting more members on YouTube. Amazing. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Frederick. Good morning, Galactic Center Core. Wet Willie, Fraser, James, Rebecca, MTG Ectoplasm, Donald Davidson, Monster CC, and James Gilberto. Good morning, everyone. And James already here firing up the questions. Did Wizard of the Coast send you a content creator email saying they are no longer supporting you? I heard they pulled the plug on Magic the Gathering Arena early access with the content creators. Yes, I got an email, but not based on what you said. So the news is that the content creator program is changing. They explicitly told us that like months ago. They created a new Discord that says, okay, all you content creators come over here, which I'm very lucky to be part of. I don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky. Let's just say I was put back into the content creator format program like almost at the last minute before there was these gigantic gravitational changes. So from there, I don't know, nothing happens for a few months. And now all of a sudden they said, we're not going to have early access events anymore. They didn't say they're pulling the plug on, they didn't say they're not going to support us anymore. They just said they're canceling the early access stuff, which personally for me didn't change anything. I never attended those. I don't really care for pre-releases or anything like that. Like I don't want to play this pony format stuff. I like to play modern, so I never benefited from the early access stuff, but others did, and it was a sort of a free way to support them. I have a feeling there was a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that it got carried out, but I think it looks bad that they pulled it out at the last second. You know, they could have let this one go and then say, okay, from here on out, we're not doing it anymore. So, you know, they sort of quit it in a bad way. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do in the future to support the content creators, because inside knowledge, well, they just said this to all of us that, you know, the old program wasn't helping creators grow. We want to change the program to help people grow. So, I mean, if that's genuine, if that's true, then let's see what happens. They did give me a bunch of codes, though. So make sure you're ready on maybe... Oh, I don't know when these codes are active. But in my next few streams, next time I play on Magic the Gathering Arena, you want to be there to get all the codes before they expire. Because they get... Wizards has given me... They gave me a shitload of codes in the past, and I just let them expire. So... sorry about that, Wizards. We're going to make sure we get those codes out this time. We're going to make sure the codes get out this time. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, MTG Box. Lord Magicus. Yellow Chair. Mikey J. Good morning, Steve, Carlos, Andreas. Pancho Hernandez Daniel. Good morning. Oh, and Cactus of Ishmox here. And good night in Japan, yeah. All right, everyone, you know the drill. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all your comments that I'm getting on multiple YouTube channels and my Facebook fan page. Or you can cheat the system with super chats on YouTube. If you make a donation, your question gets pushed to the top of my feed. Pancho Hernandez, thoughts on Swords to Plowshares in Modern? It would clearly displace Path to Exile. It's like a massive upgrade. You know, people are crying that, oh, Counterspell is going to warp the format, blah, blah. That's nonsense. It's going to be a very marginal upgrade to Mana Leak. So when you want to put Swords to Plowshares in Modern, you're really changing the character of Modern in a big way. That is an absolute legacy type card. You know, you could even say it's poorly designed. That for 1 mana you get rid of anything, and you get rid of it. It gets exiled. And the whole big downside of them gaining life. Whoa, whoop-de-doo. I'm a control deck. I don't even care if you're at 100 life. So, anyway, I don't think it's a good idea. I think that is a massive change to. It's a big power level discrepancy between Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. You basically displace Path to Exile big time. Path to Exile it's not even that great. Like, you know, there's a real liability to Path to Exile. I admit that. There's no liability at all to Path to Swords to Plowshares. Really marginal. David Lima, Counterspell will be okay in Modern? I think so. I think a lot of people fearing Counterspell will realize, oh, like nothing much has changed. You know, if you got Mana Leak before, now you're just going to get Counterspelled. I think the only decks that would care about Counterspell would be the Titan decks and Tron decks, or any other big mana deck, like say Scape Shift, because now when you have 7 mana in play, Mana Leak doesn't counter everything. So, are you really defending those decks? Like, really? Are you really defending those decks? You know, like, we don't need to make Amulet and Tron's life easier. We could make them harder. And like every other deck, basically. Well, in some niche scenarios, Burn might be able to play around a Mana Leak, but not a Counterspell. Wet Willie! Do you ever think of having a Tron guest speaker from YouTube, like you did for Spirits that long time ago? I think Kano Goro would be a great Tron guest speaker. I did have a Tron speaker. So, I mean, if you go on my Nikachu MTG channel, and I do have a playlist for, like, you know, deck masters. I interviewed, what's his name? Shit, what the hell was his name? He was known also for playing a lot of Miracles back in the day. I have a name in my head, but it's the wrong name. Oh, help me, people. Who's the Miracles master in Legacy? Joe Lassette. So I interviewed Joe Lassette. If you can get this Kano Ugoro to contact me, we could definitely work something out. I have no problem bringing guests on the show. I just have a problem going and finding guests. Hey, you want to be on the show? Like, here's the benefits. How about it? And like, maybe they get back, maybe they don't. So if the people who contact me, they definitely want to be in the show, I have no problem with that. I have no problem sharing this space with people. D-Tie Gaming. I scrapped Death and Taxes since the playstyle did not suit me. I own a Blue-Eye Control and Amulet deck as of now, and I want a third deck to play. Any suggestions? I'm mainly a control player. You're mainly a control player, but you're playing Amulet Titan? What the hell happened? What happened, D-Tie Gaming? Play Blue Moon. I bet that is within your play style, and it's a very unique type of deck. Blue Moon has just always been around. We'll just say it's always around. Blood Moon, it's not a bad card, you know. I mean, look at the decks that you play. Amulet Titan. Get eaten up by that Blood Moon. Nikachu playing Magic the Gathering Arena. What parallel reality is this? I think it's a good thing now because my streams are never exactly 3 hours. And if it ever ends early, then I can finish the stream with some historic merfolk. Oh, good morning, Straw Boss, Jacob, Spencer, David, the Iron Warlock, Andrew. It's like a new way. I've never seen this before where I have a fucking second wave of people saying good morning. Good afternoon, David. M515, Jeopard Tekken. Good morning, Cody. Can we expect a Bunny of Waves not to be made sooner or later? What does that mean? You mean like an actual card? Or are you talking about some sort of merch or something? Yellow Chair, you forgot to address Tron in your hardest modern decks to play. No, I didn't. Because it's going to be in the easiest modern decks to play video. Tron is not the hardest deck out there. Your hardest decision point really is how to get Tron online. I mean, teach the person to mulligan aggressively. But in the grand scheme of things, you're just putting 3 lands in play and you slam giant bombs on the battlefield. That is not the definition of hard. Anyway, I did not forget. It will be on the easiest. If that sounds controversial, then so be it. Hey, Oak, thoughts on modern prison Ponza decks in the current meta? Not great. Not terrible. Not great. We'll just say that. Let's just put that. It's not terrible. It's got some, it's got some stuff. The problem is, like, when there's enough monocolor or red-based decks in the metagame, then it just doesn't work out. So, like, Heliod Company, I don't think gets stomped too bad. Jun Shadow probably races you and doesn't care that much about the Blood Moon. Blitz doesn't care. Now, Tron will care a little bit, but you don't have a very good game against Tron because they'll just make land drops and blow you out anyway. Because most pawns of prison decks. I mean, okay, if you're playing red-green aggro, you'll beat Tron. If you're playing like a mono-red prison deck, you might still struggle against Tron because they'll just play random lands and kill you anyway. Eldrazi Tron, it's like okay. It's okay. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's great. It's not bad. What the hell is this? I don't know what your game is like against this 5-color abomination. You don't have good game versus Burnt. Got a good game against Amulet. So it's not Esper Control. Actually, Esper Control would be pretty good. Azura's Control, not good. Mono Red Aggro, not good. Hammer Time, I don't think is that great. So it's like, it's not great. It's not super well positioned. Not poorly positioned, though. Got that question. Do you think Azorius Prowess will be a deck post-Strix in Modern? No, not a chance. I have no idea how you're building this. Maybe, if you're talking about like a feather like that deck, you might see that in Historic. Maybe in Pioneer, not Modern. Modern's too aggressive. The Modern's... If Infect can't survive, then a feather deck is not going to survive. David asks, what's the first high-level event on Magic the Gathering Online after Strixhaven drops, where we can get a good idea of its impact on the format? I wouldn't judge it just based on the first high-level event, because maybe a really good breakout deck makes the top 32, but doesn't actually win the tournament, and people are like, hey, that's an interesting deck, and then a lot of people play it. I would say maybe wait a week or two. Sometimes it just takes like 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks to really figure out what's broken and what's not. Kellen Alexander, in your opinion, what card not named Clever Lumimancer in Strixhaven will have the most impact in Modern? Maybe that dragon, the dragon that looks like X cards deep and you get to cast something for free. Because there was a Narset combo a long time ago, and it was janky, and it didn't work, but this is a huge upgrade to Narset. I don't remember the dragon's name. Can anyone remember the dragon's name? For anyone watching the replay, I can put it on the screen. Velamachos. Yeah, so this might be a high impact card. Maybe. This is a huge fucking gamble. Because the real question is it better than Narset? Can a better combo deck be made out of this dragon? That's the question. Flying Vigilance Haste. Like, it comes on the battlefield and it can attack immediately. That's very important for a reanimator target. Very, very important. It attacks. Look at the top seven cards of your library. That's way deeper than Narset. And you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Lorehold's power, which is whatever. 5 power is pretty high. So basically you're casting anything for free. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So anyway, this has... When I saw this card, I dismissed it immediately and then completely changed my mind about it. So I actually think it's quite good. It has potential, but it's a complete gamble whether people can make the right deck or not. Who gave you the nickname? I gave myself the nickname. Actually, very specifically, I made a card. I made my own card with this name, and then I wanted to use the name. If Counterspell and Shardless Agent are in Modern Horizons 2, will Bug Midrange be the go-to midrange deck over Jund? Not necessarily, because this deck still gets eaten up by Blood Moon, and there's always... People love fucking Blood Moon in Modern. They just love that. It's like... How do I put it? There's something about these prison cards. There's something about like these cards that win on the spot. They just love these cards. And so long as there are just tons of random people playing Ponza and Mono Red, Prison, and Blue Moon, it'll always keep those types of decks in check and give Jund a little bit of an edge because they can utilize the red mana. What's your opinion about Pauper? I think it's a pony format. That's why. It's not technically a pony format, but that's how I think. I think it's not my format. That's for sure. If you like formats that drag on for forever, you know, the games just take forever to close out, and you don't like getting blown out in the beginning, Pauper is your format. Do you hate Tron? I don't. I made a video supporting Tron. I actually think it's important that Tron's in the format. J.K. Torborg, what's up, Nikachu? Excited for the onslaught of Boros and Jeskai Prowess decks by the end of the week? I, for one, am amped to die on turns 2 to 3. Well, we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's totally possible that in anticipation for all these Prowess decks, all the removal heavy decks are going to come out of the woodwork to neutralize it at the base. Joseph, do you believe they might print Cavern type of land for Planeswalker? Cavern type of... what do you mean? Like Cavern of Souls? Do you believe they might print Cavern type of land? Oh, you mean a Cavern of Souls for Planeswalkers? No, I don't. I mean, not like Cavern of Souls where you name Liliana and if you tap it for black, you get your uncounterable Planeswalker. It could be something like tap, I don't know, tap, pay 2, the next Planeswalker, you add 1 black mana, and that mana could be spent to cast a Planeswalker uncounterably. That might happen. But who knows what Wizards will do? They could do fucking anything. What is your pet hate deck? I mean, a deck that I like that hates on the format? Honestly, don't have one. I don't play a lot of those hate decks. Okay, maybe my pet hate deck is Bogles. I see that like it's not technically a hate deck, but people hate that deck. You will get people to hate the thing. I reached 22 shows. You need to come on my show. If I'm willing to go on your show, no problem. Invite me on. Just DM me and we can work something out. I was supposed to go on somebody's... Someone reached out like a month ago, but I was too busy to look at Historic Merfolk. Whoever that is, contact me again. A month has passed. Alololo, do you think Him to Trock would see any major play in Modern? It would absolutely... I don't know about major play. It would definitely see play. It would definitely see play. I don't think it like every... I don't know if every Death Shadow deck will play it, for example, but I think it would definitely see play. Wet Willie, what do you think about Fevered Visions in Modern? Remember, this is some jank card. Yeah, this is like a bit of a jank. It's like, okay, it's an enchantment for 3 mana. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws a card. If the player is your opponent and has 4 or more cards in hand, Fevered Visions deals 2 damage to them. I mean, the card is unplayable. You have to build a deck around it. Some sort of prison deck where your opponent is accumulating cards in their hand that they can't cast. Of each player's end step, that player draws a card. Like, if you're going to play it, make a Howling Mine deck, you might as well just play Howling Mine. Or, it's 2 mana. Or you could play, I don't remember, but there's like a flash speed version of this that's just mono blue. It doesn't deal damage to the opponent if they have too many cards in hand, but that shouldn't matter. Like, pending the deck that you play, you should not be trying to win through damage. You should be trying to win some other way. Mango Hub! What cards from Strixhaven do you think would be good in Modern? Anything big enough to make a whole new deck? Just that dragon. That's the only thing I could see. Everything else is like... maybe the Boros Prowess deck will be a new archetype. We have to wait and see what that looks like. Love the old Blue Moon versus Twin matchups. I mean, I liked watching them too, but I think Twin should have a massive edge in that matchup. Because, like, Blue Moon has just a million dead cards. The Iron Warlock. Will Elves become OP if Deathrite Shaman and Glimpse of Nature get unbanned? And would Glimpse replace Coco in that case? Or would it work in addition to card advantage to Elves? I don't know, actually, if it would replace Coco. I can't say for sure. I don't think it would be OP either if Deathrite Shaman got unbanned. And I think elves will always have the struggle to fight through infinite removal. Like that's just the main problem here for elves in modern. It's just so much removal and the threat of turn 3 kills. Like even against Amulet, they could get Valakut online by turn 3 and just start shooting shit down. Like just make major problems for, you know, the creatures. So I'm Glimpse of Nature would give elves some play because all of a sudden you'd have access to turn 2 kills before the opponent can start like removing your creatures. I don't think it's enough though. Like that's why I said like we can unban Glimpse, because like elves is gonna fucking struggle no matter what. It's a struggle for the elves players. Merfolk is unplayable. Peter Socrates said that a long time ago. Was he right? Well, I mean, I kept playing it after that. I mean, I made the top 8 of a GP. I think my win rates. I don't mind my, let's say, MTG, Goldfish, Nikachu. You know, I don't mind my track record. I mean, even like look at 2020 when they said like, you know, and this is like way past the era where they said Merfolk was completely unplayable. And it's not all 5-0s. Like, I'm top 8ing modern challenges here. So, I mean, there's still, like, plenty of game in Merfolk. I didn't really do anything in 2019, or I just didn't get any results. But, like, 2018, still a lot of stuff. Although this is... Oh, no, but again, top 8s in the modern challenges. So, not unplayable. Still playable. James Giliberto, could Inscription of Abundance be a playable Simic Merfolk card? Can't remember that one. I have my keyboard so far away. Sometimes I push my keyboard away from my desk so that Chubby Meatball has somewhere to sit. Chubby Meatball is my cat, for anyone who doesn't know. Inscription of Abundance, 2 mana. Kicker is a problem. Choose one. If the spell is kicked, choose any number. Put 2 counters on a target creature. Target player gains X life, or X is the greatest power among creatures they control. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. I think it's unplayable, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's 2 mana. If it was 1 mana and the kicker was like 3, that could be a different story. But for 2 mana, I think it's unplayable. It's just too clunky for Merfolk. Merfolk just can't play these 2 mana cards anymore. We got to be looking to go lower on the mana cost of cards, not higher. It's either got to be 1 mana or free. Or if it's 2 mana, it's got to fucking do everything. It's got to like do my laundry, put my dishes away, you know, pack up my socks, put them in the drawer. It's got to change my oil. It's got to do all that stuff. It doesn't do that? Well, no, it doesn't fit for 2 mana. Can Azorius Prowess be a deck in Modern? How? I don't know how. Like, if you lose red, you lose everything, basically. You lose like a... Well, I don't know. You got to show me a list. As said, I have no idea. Spencer Ward, so did you skip Lantern Control on your hardest decks list because it's not putting up numbers these days? I was always under the impression it was the hardest deck in Modern. It's actually one of the easier decks in Modern. It's because like all you do is you might just need to understand the idea of what you want to put in, like what you want to get in play. Like you want your Lantern of Insight and your you want Lantern of Insight and a Codex Strider in play. But once you've done that, like this is not complicated. This is not fucking rocket science. Your opponent has a good card on top of their deck, you mill it. If they have a bad card on top of their deck, you let them draw it. Like that's basically the concept of Lantern Control. It's a weird looking deck because the point is, like when I made this video, if you know the ideas, the patterns, what you're trying to accomplish, is the deck still difficult to play? So if you know what you're trying to accomplish with Lantern Control, and they have like a million tutors to get Ensnaring Bridge or the Codex Shredder or Lantern of Insight, like at its height, it could fucking do anything. I don't think it was the hardest deck to play. Not going to say it's like the easiest deck to play, but I don't put it on the hardest deck to play. I think it was just a very unpopular deck. But also, I didn't really... There were some... I will say this. There are decks that are difficult to play that I did not post because they are sort of really old or completely wiped out of the metagame for years. or they got bannings or something like that. Like, I think Krug Clan Ironworks was also still a pretty difficult deck to play, even after you know all the loops and shit like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. But like, anyway, there are some complicated decks out there that just don't exist anymore. Aspiring Spike is known to have a drunk, fully blind Tron leagues where he just blocks out the opponent's side of the field and plays Tron and wins solitaire style. This deck is just solitaire. I've never heard of that. I would love to see a stream of that. That is such a fucking amazing clickbait title. Playing Tron blindfolded or something, blindfold Tron. But that proves how easy this deck is. Like, where you really only need to care about your side of the battlefield for the most part. Thoughts on why Dredge isn't that much played anymore in the meta? It is. It's definitely played here. Let's go look for Dredge. It's around. It's in that 2%er. Oh, it's dropped a little bit below that. So it's around like one. Where are we here? Dredge 1.4%. Not terrible. Like, Dredge is the type of deck. It comes and goes based on like how much graveyard hate is out there. It'll be back. Like, there'll be a day where Sodek says, okay, there's no more graveyard hate. Everyone come play Dredge. And then everyone plays Dredge. And it's going to shoot up in meta percentage. But it's still there. It's still there. Don't be sleeping on Dredge, people. Gepard Tech, and what's the current best color combo in Control? Probably just... I mean, it's either blue-white or it's Esper. Frankly, like, JSP Yendrick is still putting up really strong results with Esper Control. Still winning. We interviewed him, and he's still winning tournaments with the deck. So he's sort of making a really good argument that Esper is the way to go. Ione, is it Blitz? Is Burn a good idea to get into next? If you like that style, it's very similar. But I will say that Burn will be a more boring version of your deck. Is it Blitz has a little bit more action. This has actually a lot more action, more stimulation. Burn is just much more straightforward. What is the best site / way to get the most accurate idea of the current modern meta decks? Unfortunately, there isn't one. So, like, my default right now is MTG Goldfish. I used to go to MTG Top 8, but I don't like how... I used to like this because I love their formatting. It looks shitty, but it's like you immediately just see all the decks ranked from like most popular to least popular. My problem is that, look, they got F&M at Shamira Gaming. Who gives a fuck about F&M at Shamira Gaming? This is not the metagame. So they've got tons of these like local game store events with 14 players and the most skewed crap results ever. And so, like, if certain local game stores publish lists more often, then like Christian Siofsky's Urzatron, let's see how often. Look, he has three results, 3 Tron decks. They will inflate and skew the stats, in my opinion. And I don't think... Now, if Sodek does that, I think that's fine because he's a very top tier winning player, winning in very big events, and I think he rightfully has influence over other people picking up Dredge and then playing in the metagame because then they're winning as well. But anyway, so like I used to like MTG Top 8. Now it's just absolute bullshit trash because they're just grabbing data from any random local game store. I don't know. Maybe that's fine. Maybe I have my head up the ass. You can filter those events and MTG Top 8, by the way. You can. There's actually a lot of customization you can do here. So here's the deal. None of them are perfectly accurate. Like even MTG Goldfish isn't that great. I know how to explain it, but they've got all these. I think they're only this 4.7% that they have here only represents, I think, the very last week of results. Like sometimes the deck will have like 0% of the metagame, but they have a bunch of lists here. And that's because they're weighing the percentage based on maybe the last week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't know what that is exactly. So basically, there's no great way to determine what's going on in the metagame. Maybe the best way is to take MTG top 8, filter it by best decks. Oh, another thing, they don't give me 1 month. Like 2 months is an eternity from is an eternity. I want 1 month breakdowns. Here, can we? How do I search? Period. Oh yeah, we can get the period. So you can be defined here. Now the way I do it, like if you want to know how I make my top 10 decks to beat, it's a combination of looking at these, you know, this gives you a general idea what's the most popular. So like at the top, like in general, like these are some of the better decks right now. That can give you a general, like a decent, okay general idea, but not a perfect idea at all. It's still very, very loose. Now the next step is I follow a lot of grinders on Twitter, and I pay very close attention to what they're playing against, because they very, very often post the decks that they played against. And if they're playing against, let's say they're playing against Burn, like let's say everyone is playing against Burn, again, every league, one Burn matchup, one Burn matchup, one Burn matchup, one Burn matchup, then that means Burn is actually much more popular than the rest of these decks, even though maybe it's not winning as much to be, because this only represents the decks that go 5-0. It doesn't represent like the quantity of Burn players out there. And then additionally, I put some weight on the when I play Magic, what am I actually seeing in the trenches at any given time. So anyway, there's no perfect website for this, because even if you filter for MTG top 8 and you pull the 5-0s, the 5-0s are curated by Wizards. If 20 people go 5-0 with Jund Death Shadow, they only post 1. If 2 people go 5-0 with Hammer Time, they only post 1. So what you end up having is like what you see here. It looks it's somewhat leveled off. There's so many like decks at 2% when really that's not true. There might be a lot less Hammer Time decks out there and a lot more Jund decks out there. Wizards is trying to level off the how do I want to put it? They don't want to make it look like any particular deck is winning more than another one. So the stats come out very flat. And the only, a Heliod company is only showing up. Heliod and Jund is really popping out over the other ones because it has a lot more representation in the open challenges. Anyway, I hope that gives some explanation. Hope that was a good answer to that question. Now I'm completely lost where I was with the questions. Cody Kale, is there any merit to printing a new playable 1-mana white removal spell into Modern? Isn't white supposed to be the best color for removal? Is it? I don't know. Well, I think white is the best color for exiling cards. I don't know if it's the best removal. I don't know if it's the best color for removal. I heard someone made that argument. I don't know if I can like really defend that. Because like it is to some extent dangerous to give people the ability to exile at 1 mana. Although honestly at this point, like Fatal Push and Blood Chiefs, there's more or less do that anyway. Well, they don't like exile, but basically they deal with it with one mana. 1 mana and they deal with it. David, why is there so much buzz about Shardless Agent? Seems like a medium card to me. It's just card advantage for 3 mana. It's card advantage. It's had a really... There were legacy decks built around this card. Legacy. Getting that 2-for-1 is amazing. And like the idea is like if you Shardless Agent into like Ancestral Visions, I mean that was the dream. Ancestral Vision. Like that was the dream. So you like Shardless Agent, hit Ancestral Vision, draw 3 cards, so much value. I mean, the Shardless Agent decks, I guess they're fun because they're value-based decks. That's fun. Who doesn't like value? Getting those 2-for-1s and stuff like that. Sorry, I meant to ask, are you making a Bunny of Waves NFT before, but it auto-corrected me? Oh, I don't know that much about NFTs. I have no intention at the moment. Thought on killing Ink Duelist. Definitely one of the newer cards. A 2/2 lifelinker with menace. Spells you cast that target a creature cost 2 less to cast. Crap. I think if you need to reduce the mana cost on your cards, then that means you're playing with a lot of clunky cards. And if you're playing with clunky cards, it's not well, the rest of the deck is bad if you don't have Killian Ink Duelist. Not to mention this is a legendary creature. So it sounds like you need this card badly that you have to have 4 of them in your deck, but if you have multiples, then it's going to be really clunky. Oh, maybe there's some deck out there for it, but probably not. I mean, okay, hold on. I'm talking about Modern, by the way. Maybe there's a deck in Historic or Pioneer that can utilize this very well. I just don't know what it is. Use your imagination. Like when people suggest cards like this, Killian, like you got to tell me what the idea is with it, because outside of that, like I don't see any purpose for the card. Boros or Jeskai Prowess after Strixhaven, and will Clever Lumimancer be banned in Modern? Clever Lumimancer won't be banned in Modern. I shouldn't have said that in my video, but people will try both, and we'll see which one turns out on top. I would not be surprised if it was Boros that was out on top, though, in the end. But I'm not doubting that Jeskai can be there as well. What's your most hated Modern deck? I hate Lantern Control. That was a fucking stupid deck. Like, okay, how smart do you need to be to put an Ensnaring Bridge in play against a Merfolk player? Like, I played against some really stupid Lantern Control players. I could tell based on the pace of their play that they didn't really know what to do. But, like, even a really bad Lantern Control player knows how to Ancient Stirrings, look for that Ensnaring Bridge, put it into play, and then that's it. I lost. Just can't beat it. So frustrating. So glad that deck is gone. Interplanar Beacon is a ramp card for Planeswalkers. Yeah, but does it make it uncounterable? Yeah, so, I mean, there's a Planeswalker card. But the question was whether they're going to make a Cavern of Souls, which makes your... Cavern of Souls is a unique card in that it makes your the creature type that you name uncounterable. And therefore and then the idea was, are they going to make Planeswalkers uncounterable? It's not that it was a multicolored land for Planeswalkers. Holy shit, I'm really behind on the chat. All right, we're gonna... No, Dictative Crew Fix is what I was asking about. Chris Ross, thoughts to make your mark and show confidence for Boros Prowess? Make your mark. The card? Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. When this creature dies this turn, create a 3/2. This is unplayable. Like, cards that target your creature, I don't think are good in Modern. This is just terrible. I mean, maybe this is playable for Historic. Maybe that's the case, but for Modern, this is not good. And then Show of Confidence. Like, in response to make your mark, they kill the creature, and then you don't get anything. And they're not flexible cards. Show of Confidence. When you cast this spell, copy it for each other instant or sorcery spell you've cast this turn. So basically, as Storm, you may choose 2 new targets for the copies. That's a really fancy way of saying Storm, don't you think so, everyone? It's like, isn't that fucking Storm? It's like, we don't actually... You know, Storm is historically a terrible, terrible mechanic. It was a huge fucking mistake. Let's bring Storm back! We'll just not name it Storm. We'll just put this really long-winded explanation here. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains vigilance until end of turn. This is also unplayable. Look, if the Boros Prowess deck is going to make it work in Modern, you need to... It's got to be like what Prowess does right now. Like, as you see, the Prowess decks as it stand do not buff their creatures at all. It's just burn spells to the face, or cards that draw cards, Manamorphose, Light Up the Stage, stuff like that, and it makes their creatures bigger at the same time. Because you have to interact with your opponent to some degree, and that's what those burn spells do. Whereas these other cards, Show of Confidence and stuff like that, it's not really interacting with the opponent. You're just trying to go all in on one creature, which will get blown out if they have a removal spell. Who's the most underrated deck in Modern right now? I want to say it's Hardened Scales, but like, I want to say it's Hardened Scales. I just want to say it's Hardened Scales, even though I don't have anything to fucking back that up at all. I don't see any reason why Hardened Scales can't be in this metagame. Sure, there's some Karn the Great creators out there, but there's not that many. There's like no fucking artifact hate out there. Why isn't there Hardened Scales in this metagame? Okay, hold on, I'm gonna skip some questions, get to something recent. Any super chats? Sometimes the $2 super chats don't give me notifications. Thoughts on Legacy at the moment and on Merfolk and Legacy? I have no thoughts on Merfolk and Legacy. I also don't have many thoughts on Legacy, period. I think they are happier in Legacy, though. I will say this much. The complaining has stopped to a very large degree on Twitter. I mean, since Uro and Oko were in... Sorry, specifically Oko, Thief of Crowns, was in Legacy, and also Arkham's Astrolabe. I mean, there was just infinite complaining all the time. The format has gone to hell. The format's gone to hell. The format's gone to hell. The format's gone to hell. Now I don't hear that anymore, so it sounds like it's a better format. How good is Isolate against the one-drop Super Prowess deck? It's probably fine. It'll be good. Isolate, but the problem is Isolate is somewhat of a... It's a good sideboard card. We'll just say it like that. It is blown out by Karn the Great Creator. But where are the Karn the Great Creator? There's not that many. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tron is representing Karn the Great Creator enough right now. We got Tron, Eldrazi Tron. These are all the Karn the Great Creator decks. Maybe that's enough. Some Amulet Titan decks are also playing Karn the Great Creator. I think there was a time that Eldrazi Tron was very well positioned, and now these Tron decks fucking came back, and Blood Moon isn't doing its work. Isn't doing its job. Amros, what needs to be added to Modern to make Chalice a good card again? E-Tron doesn't seem to perform currently. You're wrong. E-Tron is performing really well, actually. Yeah. The Tunneling Cat has, like, I don't know, 30 trophies right now. Where's the Tunneling Cat? Look, you have a first place finish in the Modern Super Qualifier with Eldrazi Tron. You have another top 8 finish with Eldrazi Tron here in an open event. Where's the Tunneling Cat? She has like 1 million league trophies, and what? She couldn't get one list published? Which also means that there's a... there might be so many people... Oh, here we go. We got one from the Tunnel. We have a few here. Anyway, Eldrazi Tron, maybe this is one of the underrated decks at the moment. Chalice of the Void is doing well. Chalice of the Void is pulling work for it. So what needs to happen, though, usually to make Chalice good, is the format needs to go to hell in a way where everyone needs to race with really cheap spells. Like, it's got to be one mana. It's got to be 1 mana metagame. It needs to turn into the 1 mana metagame. So Eldrazi Tron doing really, really well. Anyone holding on to Eldrazi Tron, they're holding on to, if you have diamond hands on Eldrazi Tron, it should pay off right now. I think they have a lot of good matchups. They have a lot of good like, let's look at this for Eldrazi Tron. We got to get the Tunneling Cat on this show. We've got, I don't know what the matchup is like against Healed Company. Maybe it's bad. I think they probably have good game against Jund Shadow. They have good removal. Chalice is a beating. Blitz, they should do very well. Regular Tron, I think they have a bad matchup against regular Tron. Against Tron versus Tron, the bigger Tron deck wins. I have no idea what the Wooburg matchup is like. Burn, Piece of Cake, Amulet Titan. I don't know. I think it might be even or maybe a little bit worse. Maybe it's not so clear. But the thing is, like, the metagame is so heavily weighted on Shadow and Blitz and Burn. Like, there's so many of these matchups that yeah, just playing a deck full of big chunky creatures and Chalice of the Void are gonna do it for you. Do you think Toski is playable in Modern tokens? Maybe that's the upgrade that they need. I know you don't know how Death and Taxes win, but in current meta, wouldn't be green-white Death and Taxes, Gadok, Thalia, Arbiter, Suppression Field a great call? Well, what's the advantage to adding green, though? Like, that's a big cost, because now you're going to get eaten up by some Blood Moon decks. Well, maybe not eaten up maybe eaten up is strong. I don't know if Gadok Teague is worth it, though. You could just be mono-white and play Suppression Field if you really want to. For the most part. Hey, Nikachu, what do you think of the new Jeskai Soul Cat deck? Never saw it, never heard of it. I don't know what that deck is. All right, everyone. It's time for deck list review. Get your deck lists ready. All right, in my description, there is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. It's a wonderful Discord. Then go to the channel Deck List Review and enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list, and you will be eligible at random to be chosen for deck list review. And as people are submitting their deck list, we're going to thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week. Save 15% off Showcase Singles. So if you wanted that special petty theft from Brazen Borrower, you can absolutely do that. 15% off at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget, you can get an additional 5% off if you use coupon code at checkout. Also supports the channel. Not to mention, you can still pre-order Strixhaven singles and sealed product. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. And this is the main way to take your brew to the next level. If you want to make your deck a reality, play test it against the best on Magic the Gathering Online by renting it. You have access to basically every card in existence, so long as you have the right rental subscription. But you can play test to your heart's content, borrow a card. If that card doesn't work out, you just borrow another card. Maybe that card's going to work out. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using my coupon code Nikachu. All right, let's go. Let's get at it. The amazing Wally. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Deck List Review. Boop. It's called Simitron. What is that, like Simictron? Holy fuck. We saw something like that in a league once. We have Academy Ruins, Islands. What is it, like mono blue with a little splash of green? We got the Tron. We have Waterlog Grove. We have the Tron lands. Fuck, a 2-mana. It's basically a 3-mana deck, really. Expedition Map, Mind Slaver, Spine of Ishsaw. It's actually a very interesting card. It was like the secret tech to keeping KrarkClan Ironworks relevant. ETB, destroy target permanent. So you get to answer like anything that's shutting your game down when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, return it back to your owner's hand. So like that was like, it was also an alternate win condition in KrarkClan Ironworks, because you can play it, sacrifice it with KrarkClan Ironworks, and then put it back to your hand. Karn the Great Creator, love it. What the fuck? Why is the default card a promo version of Karn the Great Creator in a package? In a package, people. It's still in the package. Is that how we do it? How you join the Discord? You just click on it. The deck list review is a public channel. Okay, Phyrexian Metamorph. Now that's a bit of a spicy card. Stonecoil Serpent. Don't love this card. I would rather have more walk. If you have infinite mana, I would think I would rather have more walking ballistas. You could have maybe one if you wanted to dig for it with Teleria West or something, which you don't have. Wormcoil Engine, that's fine. So why are we in green? Condescend, Repeal, Spell Blast, Sylvan Scrying. Is it just for Sylvan Scrying? We have the Expedition map already. Colossus of Akros, Meteor Golem, Mere Battlesphere, Pilgrim of Fires, Platinum Angel, Platinum Empyrean, Relic, Sundering Titan, Sword of the Meek, Thopter Foundry, Thought Prison, Time Thief. There's no reason to play green in this deck. How many green sources do you even have? 4. Technically more, but you don't want an Expedition for your Waterlog Grove, and you don't have any of the mana dorks. No, well, we just shouldn't have green. Okay, this is a very easy decision. We're gonna dump the green and just go mono blue Tron. There's no point going green here. Oh, do we have Lattice in the sideboard? No, we don't have Lattice. Did someone suggest Lattice? Benjamin says, you should do 3 reviews and start earlier, man. The queue is really building up. It gets cleared every day. So it doesn't... Well, like, the idea is it's got to be random. I don't have time to do 3 a day. These are more time-consuming. Ideally, I want Coffee and MTG to be done in an hour. Usually it's not. It's like an hour and a half. Since Mono Blue Tron has a considerable slower time than its green cousin, I went with a Simic build to take advantage of Sylvan Scrying to get the Tron online faster. Then maintain the board state with the blue counter / repeal package and swinging hard with the big guns in the main deck and reinforcements of the sideboard. You don't have green mana to cast this fucking card. Like, that's the problem. You literally have 4 lands in your entire deck. Like, that's not gonna do it. Like, my suggestion is you're not faster. You're just never gonna cast this card. Not only that, you still need to take a turn off to put the green land in play before you even play this thing. So anyway, it doesn't work. Sometimes I don't want to say that on Decklist review, but this whole thing of splashing green for this one card, you just don't have enough lands in your deck to facilitate this at all. And then if you jam a bunch of green lands, then you can't play the islands anymore. So anyway, take out the Waterlog Grove. Well, you can keep the Waterlog Grove, but just take out Sylvan Scrying and replace it with anything else, and you have a fine Blue Tron deck. I don't know about the Thoughtcast. Affinity for artifacts, draw 2 cards. I think you probably are better off with, what's it called? What's that instant speed? Thirst for Knowledge? I think this is going to be as expensive, but even better on average. Okay, like, let's look at this card. Thoughtcast is 5 mana. How many artifacts are you going to have on the battlefield at any given time? Seriously. And it's sorcery. It's sorcery, so you're gonna shields down on your Spell Blast, your Condescends, and your Repeals. Like, whereas you want to play these things at the end of your opponent's turn. So this Thoughtcast, for the most part, even after you get some artifacts in play, even if you get like Expedition Map in play, you're really looking at a card that's gonna like cost you 3 mana anyway. So you might as well play Thirst for Knowledge, where you draw 3 cards, and you'll still get the 2-for-1. You still get the 2-for-1 if you discard an artifact card. So there's still 2-for-1s, but you can play this one at instant speed. So dump the Sylvan Scrying. I'm sorry, Simic is just not going to work here. You don't have enough mana for it, and replace Thoughtcast with Thirst for Knowledge. And I think you got a fine mono blue Tron deck. Probably should have one more Con the Great Creator though. Yeah, Lattice is banned. Why is there any mention of Lattice somewhere? What's with everyone's talking about Lattice? Is there Lattice in here? Did I miss Lattice? Okay, but people keep talking about Lattice. You're confusing me, people. Anyway, thanks for submitting the deck list. Hopefully that's it. Sorry, we can't make that Simic thing work. You just don't have the mana base for it. Like, you're very often gonna have that Sylvan Scrying in your hand and no green mana, and you're gonna be like, well, this really isn't faster. It's just actually a dead card in my hand. Oh, did I ask if you should put Lattice? Oh, maybe? Okay, I know what happened. I probably meant to say I probably said Lattice, but I had no intention of saying. I meant to say something else. My brain moves faster than my lips. So sorry about that. That was a misslip. So we now have millions of people confirming I said Lattice. Okay, we'll move on to the next deck list. This is my fault. I'm going to look at the replay, see what the hell I meant to say. Okay, next we've got Isomal. Oh, submitting on Mana Traders. This is a first. I don't know if this is the best client for Decklist review, but let's see what happens. It's not bad. It's not bad. The deck lists are in the bottom right corner. Okay, so we've got, what is this? Is It Weird? So this is like sort of, I'm familiar with the deck list. Okay, so we have Blister Coil Weird with the deck. It's like, how do I put this? This is like Prowess before it was Prowess. This is a super old-fashioned Prowess card, but it gets to untap, which is not too bad. Then there's Blister Spit Gremlin. Now, I'm not familiar with this one. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap Blister, Spit, Gremlin. This card's unplayable. You won't have the mana for this. So you have to spend mana to cast your spells, and then you'll untap this. But then you got to pay mana to tap it again. If it was free, I can get behind it. I can absolutely get behind this thing. But it's not free. It costs some mana to tap, and it's a really crap... I mean, this is a very underwhelming creature. There are creatures out there that will do this for free. But at 1 mana, I don't like it. Oh, so you want to... Oh, there might be something to this. You want to play Paradise Mantle. Oh, you have an infinite combo. Okay. Okay, what does this deck look like? It's like something in between a Prowess deck, but you also have Paradise Mantle attached to it. So if you attach the Paradise Mantle to the Blister, Spit, Gremlin, you'll have because you get to untap it, add a mana, then retap it and deal damage. So you have an infinite combo here. This is a fucking Gremlin. That's like literally Splinter Twin. This is literally Splinter Twin. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is a really cool interaction. I didn't know this existed. But I think that this whole the deck that it's founded around sucks. Like, I wonder is there a better way that we can like really turn this into a combo? Fuck, I don't know how to do that though. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap it. Because Paradise Mantle has nothing to do with like Blister Coil Weird. It's garbage. And Blister Spit Gremlin doesn't have anything else to do with the rest of this deck. Slip through space, like it's not even close. Like, I think a whole different deck should be built around these two particular cards. It's not infinite? Am I wrong? Tap. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap it. But you have Paradise Mantle. You get to... Oh no, I'm thinking about Pure Sight Marrow. Pure Sight Marrow literally untaps. Paradise Mantle is a tap, add 1 mana. So these two cards just have no business. Okay, so the combo doesn't exist because it just doesn't exist. I forgot, like, because I was thinking about Pure Sight Marrow, how it has the untap ability, but I forgot this creature has the untap ability. The Paradise Mantle does not have the untap. Paradise Mantle is still a tap. Oh, I see. So we were supposed to attach the mantle to the Blister Coil Weird. Oh, this is a bit janky. Yeah, now I see it. So you attach the Paradise Mantle to the Blister Coil Weird. You cast spells. You untap it. You can tap it for mana. You can basically empty your hand. But that's just too janky. Like, your deck loses to like just like 2 removal spells. This is like weaker than Infect. Yeah, I see where because Pure Sight Marrow has the untap ability, but I forgot it's on Pure Sight. For some reason, I thought the Paradise Mantle had the untap ability, add 1 mana, but that doesn't make any sense. It's early in the day for me, people. It's early in the day. That's why I need my coffee. It's also why we got all of you. I don't need to do this. We got all of you in the chat helping me here. Add things like Gut Shot, Immunogenic Growth to net mana. I guess so. But like, this is just unreliable. You know what's reliable? Just playing Prowess, just playing more creatures that get +1/+1. So instead of Blister, Spit, Gremlin, and Paradise Mantle, just play Monastery, Swift Spear, and Soulscar Mage. Like, that's all you got. Like, that's what the Prowess deck is founded on. And like, you can still technically play all these other janky cards, and you basically have the same deck. Because you can't force this combo. You need to naturally draw it, which is just unreliable. What do you got on the sideboard? Yeah, I mean, everything else is fine. You got 4 Conjurer's Bauble on the sideboard, Noxious Revival. Well, your sideboard is a bit crap. Because like Sleight of Hand, this is not what you want in your sideboard. This is what you want in your main deck if you thought this was useful at all. Help is a strong word for what chat does. I prefer to think we shout things at you and you look at us out of pity. No, you guys help me a lot. So, well, I mean, there's just no good way to protect this. Okay, here's my suggestion. If you're trying to build this for modern, this will get wiped out. You just replace the Blister Spit Gremlin and the Paradise Mantle with more Prowess creatures, and your deck will do fine. We're talking like Monastery, Swift Spear, and I know this, and like Soul Scar Mage, even Sprite Dragon if you want to sacrifice one more slot. Now, if you want to play kitchen tabletop Magic and you want to somehow get this thing online, what do you need? You need more cantrips for sure in the main deck. So you would need to max out on Serum Visions. So you want 4 Serum Visions in this deck. You want the Sleight of Hand in the main deck. Because if you want to make this combo consistent as possible, you have to dig for it. And there's just no other way to do it. So you can have infinite mana Morphos. Visions of Beyond is like not reliable enough. I would have this as Sleight of Hand because it digs deeper. On average, you're just going to draw 1 card off of Visions of Beyond. Probably this should. Well, I know everything at least everything draws a card. And as additional cost, this thing discard a land, draw 2 cards. Like that's maybe that's not too bad. That's a good one. Crash through. That's fine. Target creature becomes blue until end of turn. Untap that creature. Like this thing. Like at the very least, Sleight of Hand is better than a lot of these single draw cards. You need stuff like Light Up the Stage might not work because there's actually no burn in this deck. So if you look at the deck, it actually has no burn spells. So at the when it comes up to Light Up the Stage, they play like Gut Shot the opponent's face, then play Light Up the Stage and draw some cards. So I would actually recommend you have to put like more cantrips that dig deeper, including Opt. Because a lot of these things, like target creature becomes blue until end of turn. Who cares? Untap that creature, draw a card. That's not very important. So if you need to find because you need to dig for your Paradise Mantle or your Blister Coil, you're going to be missing some piece. You're probably going to be missing a few pieces. So if you have any chance, you need to be drawing. You need cards that dig deeper into your deck. Maybe you even want some 2-mana Impulse cards. That new card actually for coming out maybe is fine. It's like 2 mana. Well, that's going a little bit far. Let's just put the Gifts Ungiven package in here. What is the new Prismari card? I don't think it's called Prismari anything. Shit, there's like a 2-mana card. Look at the top 3 cards, put one of them on the bottom of your library, put one into your hand, and put and then like exile the last one. You can cast it until end of turn. Maybe that would work in here because you look 3 cards deep, you get at least another card, and it's potentially a 2-for 1. So like Visions of Beyond is clearly worse than say even Opt. It's worse than Sleight of Hand or Opt. Well, it's not. It's actually not similar. It's sort of similar. It's like a harder way of getting it online. How often do you do these? I do these. Well, I do this every day on weekdays. It's a little bit early, but Coffee and MTG runs from Monday to Friday, 9:00 a.m. Central Standard Time. You're getting close to the end of the show here, though. Expressive Iteration. Oh, that's the card I was thinking about. So it's 2 mana, it's sorcery, but it digs a little deeper. What other cards dig really deep? Because like this deck is going to be, if you really want to make this work, you need to dig super deep. Like you need to look 4 or 5 cards deep for these things. And there's no other way around it. Anticipate is the same? Is there something at instant? No. It doesn't matter if it's sorcery speed. Anticipate. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library in any order. but you don't get to play one of them from exile. That's a nice one. Exile one of them. You may play the exiled card this turn. That's a really interesting card. This card might see some very serious play in the right deck. Strategic planning. And I could be wrong about this because it's still too clunky at 2 mana. Look at the top 3 cards, put one in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. See, it's not a 2-for-1. It's just a 1-for-1. Shimmer of Possibility. I mean, maybe the deck should just be filled with Opts and Serum, Sleight of Hands and Serum Visions, and there's just nothing else we could do about it. Oh, Izzet Charm is actually Izzet Charm. Totally forgot about that one. That's actually a pretty good suggestion. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Actually, I like Izzet Charm. Because it's interaction. It's not card advantage, though. It's like interaction, but can also dig. Not a bad suggestion. But anyway, you got to fill the deck up with better cantrips. You got to dig deeper. This stuff like Slip Through Space. Like, I don't even know how good like making a creature unblockable is in this deck if you're really going to be comboing off. But then if you're going to go on the beatdown plan, you might as well just have more prowess creatures, right? You should just have more prowess creatures. Anyway, good luck with that. I hope that was something useful. It's better than nothing. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for showing up today. That's going to be it for Coffee and MTG. As usual, if you want to find the replays, you can find them at my alternate YouTube channel, Nikachu MTG Streams. That's where I dump all my VODs and, you know, all the crap I want to, all the rubbish I want to keep away from the main channel. These super long videos, that's where they all live over there. If I didn't get to your comments, questions, or deck list, we do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you want to support Coffee and MTG, you could drop a sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You could become a patron at patreon.com, or you can join on YouTube. Hit the join button. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining me today. Remember, thank you very much for making me a part of your daily routine, because without any of you, we'd have no conversation. This only works because you all show up to be a part of it. Thank you very much for joining me here. Again, starting our day right. So keep up brewing that coffee, and we'll keep brewing up magic. See you guys next time.